Hi, this is John with BFS. We're back talking about record keeping and breaking personal records. We're now on to week 3, and this is where it really starts to get fun and the kids really start to see themselves progress and have fun breaking personal records. We talked about transitioning from the readiness program into the set rep. We've gone over week 1, week 2, how to set a baseline, how to have your first day of record breaking, and now we're into week 3, which is where things start to really get fun and they start to see the variation of sets and reps, which is one of the best parts of having an actual standardized program, is not always doing the same sets and reps. The greatest part of BFS is every single week you have a different set rep scheme to make the body work really hard and get variation. Variation is kind of that important spice of life that we need for growth. So if we always do the same thing, it's much harder for the body to grow, and we usually see the body plateau. So you'll notice here that each week that we cover, it's a different set rep scheme. That allows us to have a 4-week cycle of variation and then come back on the 5th week and compete against previous efforts. And we'll get to that shortly. Just as a reminder, on week 3, when we're working through the set rep system, if you're in the off season, like we showed in this example today, it was a 5-4-3-2-1. If you're in an in-season format, we would cut that down to a 5-3-1 so we can still focus on recovery and not overtraining in season. You can also use the 5-3-1 format if you're in a shorter class period or you have beginners that are just kind of learning the fundamentals of the program and you're short on time. Okay? So, on week 3, we are on 1/15. That's our date today. The student's going to come in and they're going to know where to start because we talked about in week 2 the basic rule of thumb. If I'm starting at 5 repetitions, I look at my rep records and I have a plus or minus 5 to 10 pound rule, whatever my rep record is. So this student is starting at a set of 5. His rep record for 5 is 160 pounds. So the lowest he could start is at 150. The highest he could start is at 170. Anywhere in that range can be his starting weight selection. So he already knows where to get going. He doesn't need to ask you. He can get to work right away with his group when they get to their station. So let's say he comes in and says, I'm just going to match what I've done, self-assess a little bit, see how my effort is today, and then see where I can break a record. So he matches 160, puts that in there, and he comes up to that top right-hand corner, and again, self-assesses his effort on a scale of 1 to 10, again, wanting to be at his absolute best. So he puts in here, let's say, a 7. He's feeling pretty good today. That wasn't all that hard to get 5 at 160. So then again, quickly, he's going to assess his personal rep records and ask himself, what weight would I pick to break a personal record? His record for 4 is 160. That's also his record for 3, 2, and 1. So on this next set, if he were to pick 165 for 4 reps, he's going to actually break 4 personal records. Because on his way to 4, he does 1 rep, 2 rep, 3, and 4. So he picks 165. When he's done, he puts in here, I got an 8. Does a great job, an 8 on his effort, 165. He just broke 4 personal records. So now he really gets a chance to have some fun here and continue to break records. Each set, he has a choice on his weight selection based on his effort and his technique. If his technique is perfect, based on the BFS 6 absolutes, he can go up, he can go down, or he can stay the same. And the reason we have those 3 options is because sometimes you do need to go down. By going down in weight and maybe doing more reps, you can still break personal records. So the goal here is not to always increase weight. It's not about the weight. It's about personal records and increasing athletic performance. That's the ultimate goal. So as we continue to train, he needs to be smart about his weight selection. And this first 4-week cycle is where they really learn how to record and how to make good weight selections. So he goes down to his next set, which is a set of 3. He knows he just broke his 3 rep record at 165, so he could stay the same if he wants to. He could go up a little bit. It's 100% up to him. If you've got 1 1/4 pound plates, put one of those on each side. It's a 2.5 pound increase. It's a great opportunity for a student to break a record without a lot of added resistance. So it's up to him. Let's just say all you have access to right now is 2.5s, which are very common. So let's say he goes to 170. He gets all 3 reps, does a good job. His effort on that's a 9. But let's just say maybe on his last rep, his knees came in a little bit and got out of alignment. So now he knows he can't go up and weight on the next set. Even though we're decreasing reps, because he lost a simple technique, he can't add resistance on the next set. Now, on the next set, if his 2 reps are perfect, then the following set, he can go back up again because it's a set-by-set assessment. If each set, we look at it, and he can fix those technical errors, there's no reason he can't go back up again. We all make mistakes here and there. We want him to have the opportunity to break as many records as possible with perfect form. Never sacrifice technique for pounds. Always focus on increasing resistance and breaking records with perfect form. So on his next set, let's say he says, I'm going to stay the same. I'm going to match it. And that's a 9 again. And he gets 2 reps, does a great job. Now on his last set, you got a 1+. He can do really whatever he wants here. He had perfect form on his set of 2. He can go up, down, stay the same. The goal being here to break personal records. So he looks up here, what could I do? Well, he knows right now, if he got 165 pounds for 1, that's really less than he's done before because he's already done 170 for 2. But if he went down in weight to 165 and he got 5 reps or more, he could break a bunch of records because he's already broken his 4, 3, 2, and 1 just at the weights he's already selected. So it's up to him. He can choose. If he wants to go up in weight and just get 1 or 2, he can increase his 1 or 2 rep max. Or he can try and increase his overall number of records broken by maybe lightening the weight and doing more reps. And that's where you see the 1+ here. There's always going to be a plus on that last set if we have an opportunity to break more personal records. So I think this kid, he's going to make the choice to say, I'm going to go down and see if I can knock out a lot of reps here because I really want to break more personal records. So let's say he ends up getting 5 reps at 165. He really works hard. His effort's a 9. He does a great job. He's really, really proud of that effort. Then we're going to take these 5 working sets and we're going to add them up. Okay, so now we've got 160 plus 165 plus 170 plus 170, and then we add that last 165, and we get a simple set total of 830 pounds. That's his set total for all 5 working sets. So now he comes up here and he looks at his rep records. He asks himself, what's the most that I did on any one of these sets? So let's start down here at the bottom. What's the most that he did on his last set? Well, he got 5 reps at 165 pounds. So he comes to his 5 rep record. Notice we're writing it in the next available box. So the next box that's open, we write it in. He got 165 pounds on 115. Then he comes to his 4. Did he break his 4? Yes. He got 165 there as well. That's his new 4 rep record on the same date. Now for 3, what's the most he did for 3? His best for 3 is 170. And that also applies to his 2 and his 1, because on his way to 3, he did 1 rep, 2 rep, and 3. So his new record for 3 is 170. He got that on the 15th. His new record for 2 is 170. He also got that on the 15th. And his record for 1 is also 170, gotten today on the 15th. Notice that those are written in the next available box. These columns do not associate with the weeks that you're in. You just want to fill in each record whenever you break it. So the next open box, you put it in, and that's why we record the date, so we know how long it took us to break that number of repetition records. The key here, if you look at the rep records, is we want to see a gradual progression of growth across all records. We don't want to see him only breaking his 1 rep record or only breaking his 10 rep record. We want to see everything across the board getting relatively evenly broken as time progresses. Most programs have an emphasis on the 1 rep max, which is not how we look at things in regards to training an athlete. What we really want to see is reps 2 to 8 are kind of your sweet spot for training a student athlete, because that's that window of athletic performance and muscular endurance, right? 10 is your extreme for muscular endurance, and 1 is your extreme for muscular strength. We want to train all components for a student athlete. So every record should be progressing at a relatively even rate, with 1 and 10 being the slowest to progress because they're your hardest. They're your most extremes on both ends. Okay? That's week 3. The goal is, again, always breaking personal records. On this workout, he broke 5 personal records on only 1 lift. He's got multiple other lifts through the week as well as auxiliaries and any other performance tests you do, the goal being a minimum of 8 personal records a week, always competing against your best self. Okay, we'll be back with week 4 soon. Thanks.